Start recording the video, which I think is going okay. I'll give that a little while to get going. Cool. Right, everybody ready? Let's get cracking.
They're all saving one, or most of the Hampshire fielders are saving one. Somerset need one run. It's Edwards to Hildreth. He's there and bowls Hildreth, and he gets the run away through the onside, and Somerset have won. They've won the Royal London One Day Cup.
Good evening. You're listening to Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. This is the Somerset Cricket Podcast. Joining me this evening, I've got Dan Kingdom and the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset, Anthony Gibson. Steve Tancock, unfortunately, can't be with us tonight. He's feeling a little bit under the weather, but he has provided us with his thoughts on what has been quite a busy week in the world of news for Somerset County Cricket Club. What was first? Matt Renshaw. Sorry, that noise was just me telling me that I should be recording a podcast. I'll dismiss that. Yeah, so what was it? Monday night we had a tease that we had a new signing on the way, and then all was revealed. Getting me days mixed up now, but irrespective of that, Matt Renshaw's on his way back, and I think that can only be considered a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. He did very well in 2018. 3 centuries, averaged over 50. He is a bit of a dasher. He'll certainly bring some style to the top of the order for Somerset. How much solidity he'll bring, I'm not entirely sure. He does like going out after the ball outside the off stump, like a lot of left-handers. He was caught several times at second slip back in 2018. But he's a really nice bloke. He fitted in well, and I think it's a good signing.
What do you reckon, Dan? He's been batting down at 5 for Queensland in recent years, so do you think we'll open with him?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, the opener is the natural spot in our side that's sort of vacant, isn't it? If he bats at 5, it sort of means that, you know, we'll have to sort of go back towards green opening again with Lammonby, presumably. It sort of opens up more questions, really. Opening is where we've sort of struggled in the last few years. So I assume he'll open, but I suspect it's been agreed by him and the management. It might also come down to where Renshaw thinks is the best place for him in terms of getting into the Australia side, because obviously, you know, their middle order is pretty sealed up at the moment with Head and Labuschagne and obviously Steve Smith. But obviously their openers have changed in the Ashes. Obviously Marcus Harris hasn't done too well, so he might see the opening spot as being a better spot for him to target. So yeah, I hope he opens. I think that helps us more, and obviously that's where he scored those runs for us in 2018. And did so well then. I think obviously in 2018 he probably overperformed. So I don't think we can expect him to be that good again. And he probably, you know, he was probably at his ceiling then. I don't think he'll be that good again. I think it'd be unreasonable to expect that of him. But if he can average 40, I think we'd all take that, because, you know, we all know how our top order has struggled in recent years.
We certainly would take it.
I think if anybody could average 40, we'd take that.
Nobody else has averaged 40 for Somerset in the last 2 seasons.
Even 35 might take, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, according to reports, he's calmed down a bit. He was the type of fellow who was bouncing off the walls when he was here a few years back. But got married. He's settled down a bit. He's not quite as bad as a box of frogs anymore, but still, by all accounts, a lovely guy. So, looking forward to seeing Matt Renshaw. I think he will open the batting just purely because that's where we need to sign somebody. We don't need to put somebody else in our already congested middle order when we're potentially looking to be leaving out players like Lewis Goldsworthy and Tom Banton from potentially what would be our first choice lineup. So he's got to be slotting in at the top of the order, potentially with Tom Lammonby. Great signing though. So that was a lovely surprise to wake up to on Tuesday morning. I did think Ben was being very cute with the number of underscores on the fake hashtag, because it was exactly 8, and I thought Ben would be, you know, pretty specific with that sort of thing, but unless you were calling it M Renshaw, it wasn't. I did think it might be Azza Ali, which did match exactly 8 characters. Then I was going through all sorts of combinations of Dean Elgar with no E and things like that to try and get it to fit. But yeah, great news. Welcome back to the Cooper Associates County Ground to Matt Renshaw. And he's bringing with him news that broke today. His Adelaide Strikers colleague, rumoured in the Cricketer, quashed by Jason Kerr to my very face at the members' lunch in November as being just that, a rumour, rekindled by Steve Kirby to Anthony a couple of weeks before we recorded our last podcast, and now confirmed this morning it was still 8 characters in the T's. So P. Siddle, after the winter of rumours, is on his way to Taunton as well. County Championship winner with Essex. I'm going to wonder if him and Jack Brooks are going to set up the over 35s County Championship winners section in the dressing room, just to have that all to themselves. Experienced signing, a bit different from Marchant, who we'll get onto a bit later, but a proven performer.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good player. I mean, you may have seen my tweets earlier. I'm not got any quibbles with him in terms of his quality. And he's exactly the kind of bowler that will succeed in English conditions, and he has done many times. He's still continues to produce in the Sheffield Shield. It's just the one concern I've got 2 concerns really. One of them is that he doesn't necessarily provide us extra depth because we've already got De Lange, and therefore we can only play one of him and De Lange at any one time anyway. So at the end of last season, we had that problem where we were missing Craig and Gregory. Everyone, so the bowling attack in general struggled. The problem is that Siddle can come in, but De Lange has to drop out, and we still have that problem with Brooks and Aldridge and Leonard still needing to do quite a big job, which is potentially fine, but they just need to step up. Brooks particularly, I think he's experienced. He disappointed, I think, all of us towards the end of last season. To be honest, I mean, he's a great guy, and we all like him, but he did struggle, didn't he, at the end of last season? So we'll need him to step up. So it was a slightly odd one for me. I was expecting a domestic bowler, if anything, although that's easier said than done, signing a quality domestic bowler, because a domestic bowler would genuinely give us that flexible extra depth. But an overseas means that actually we've got De Lange and Siddle, can't play both of them at the same time unless you drop Renshaw. So then that's probably not going to happen. So it was an odd one for me. And then the other slight concern I've got is that this now means we won't get another overseas for the T20, I assume, because it means that Siddle and De Lange are our 2 T20 overseas players. Renshaw will also be registered but not playing. So I don't think we're going to sign. Well, we might, but it's whether we can sign a 4th overseas player, deregister Renshaw during the T20s, and have an extra T20 player sort of available, because it's just that weird situation now. We've got 2 overseas pace bowlers for the T20, which we don't really need both of them in that format. We've got Overton, we've got Davey, we've got Brooks as other options, and really I thought that an opening batsman was really the vacancy in that side. We saw how well Conway did for us last season, particularly when we were missing other guys. When we missed Banton, for example, we missed Gregory, we've had Abel injured, but Conway held the side together really. So we won't have that insurance next year in having an overseas opener. I don't think it would be Conway because of the New Zealand series. So I'm just slightly concerned that the T20 might struggle a little bit more just to get through in the T20. And I would be a lot more confident in the T20 if we had another overseas batsman. It's just I think we're potentially, I don't know, shooting ourselves in the foot, but I think T20 is the competition we are most likely to win next year. I think we've got a better chance of winning that than the Championship or the One Day Cup. But we're not giving ourselves the best possible chance of winning it by not signing another overseas batter. That's my concern there. So it's, yeah.
It's all right, Dan, I'll jump in. That was probably about 25 minutes on Peter Siddle there. One of the things that Andy Harry said at the Members' Day, when was that, yesterday, was that one of the things that they were really looking for in overseas was the continuity of getting a guy over for a really, really long period of the summer. So that kind of eliminates any Indians, South Africans or New Zealanders. So going outside of that, they're going to be thin on the ground. So I think in Siddle and Renshaw, you've got one, you've got a known quantity in Matt Renshaw, who you know fits in with the guys and knows them. And second, with Peter Siddle, you've got a really experienced international performer, proven international performer, who's played in county cricket and knows how to win the county championship, Skipper. So if those are your criteria, that you need a guy for the whole summer, I think Siddle ticks most of those boxes.
Arguably as well, our weakness in T20 cricket is with the bowling rather than the batting. I think we got almost an embarrassment of riches when it comes to batting with Lammonby and Banton. James Rew is coming on really well. Will Smeed, we need to keep playing him, otherwise he'll be off to Edgbaston. George Thomas made a really good start last season. You got Tom Abel and James Hildreth and Lewis Gregory and hopefully Craig Overton if he's not with England. I don't think there's much problem with the batting. I think we've got a strong enough batting unit. But as was shown in the final against Kent, we can't contain with the ball, and I think Peter Siddle will be a real asset there. And if March and De Lange can produce for Somerset the sort of form he's shown for one or two other sides, either out in Abu Dhabi or in the 100, then he could be a force as well. So I think I like the idea of signing a batsman and a bowler rather than two batsmen. And I don't think there'll be a fourth overseas player. I'm not sure they can afford it apart from anything else. And Renshaw is a perfectly good T20 batsman. He can whack it with the best of them. So I think it's I think we've got a good chance. I think my worry is about the younger players. These up and coming players like Rew and Smeed, and with the bowlers, Sonny Baker, assuming he gets fit again after that back injury, which was really worrying with him coming back from the under-19 World Cup with that. They'll get their chance in the Royal London One Day Cup as well, but I'm not sure if they're as good as they seem to be. I'm not sure they're going to be satisfied with that, and we do need to be giving the younger players the chance to break through on the big stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think at 37. Peter Siddle is probably not going to play every championship game. Lewis Gregory is going to need to be handled with kid gloves with his bad back. So again, probably not going to be relied upon to do a lot of donkey overs, and you'd probably say 15 overs a day max for Lewis. So it is going to leave you with opportunities for those guys to come in. I mean, that trio of old Ned Leonard, Sonny Baker and Casey Aldridge, they're going to get opportunities through the season.
You've got Josh Davey as well.
I think
it's hard to see. I mean, they can't, as you were saying, they can't play De Lange and Siddle in the same team. But De Lange really wasn't very impressive in the county championship last season. Well, he wasn't very impressive in the T20 either. But he can do it. We've seen him do it. But I think he's more likely to make a big telling contribution in white ball cricket than red. So I think certainly for the first 6 games of the season, before there's any England queries coming in, the attack will be Gregory, Overton, Davey, Leach, and Siddle, and I think that that's a useful looking attack. I think, and with the batting strengthened, if only the young players, the Lammonbys and Bartletts and Banton and co, if they can fulfil their potential, then we've got a really good chance. My big disappointment about this week's announcements is that they didn't include, as far as I know, Shep, unless Andy Hurry told you differently on Thursday night, they didn't include a batting coach. At the moment, we ain't got one because Jim Troughton's gone.
No, he didn't mention anything about a batting coach, although I did see a couple of players working on their batting in the indoor school.
What are they doing?
When I was up there for the Members' Day yesterday.
Reverse scoot?
No, quite the opposite, in fact. So, let's go through it from the start. So, let's get all my couple of notes from what I wrote down from you, so I should have this open. So we started first. So it was sort of started off in the county room, and it was absolutely packed. There was probably between sort of 250, 300 people there. So really, really well supported. Started off, Spencer did a bit of a Q&A with Tom Abel. He mainly talked about his knee's going to be absolutely fine for the season. He probably could have gone to the PSL at a push, but decided not to not risk his knee, because he's probably sort of 99% fit, but wants to, cross the T's and dot the I's and make sure he's ready for the season. So he didn't really feel there'd be much benefit going off to the PSL. Talked about the September to forget last year. Put that down partially, but not wholly, to how did he phrase it? It was, so they just said that they've got a very young and very tight squad, and that was disruptive with players going off and coming back to the 100. And then just maybe wasn't the maturity in the squad to sort of deal with that and come back and perform in September. So they had frank conversations about that to try and make sure that doesn't happen next year. I'm not sure if that involves banning our players from going to the 100 or not. I would hope it does, but I very, very much doubt it. What else have we got here? He talked about how they're kind of approaching their training this year, particularly from batting wise. So they basically, what they're trying to do is concentrate on getting the guys in for 2.5 hour net sessions. So similar sort of number of balls being faced, but at a sort of a lower intensity, but for longer, to try and replicate what's going on in a first class match, basically. So you have to bat, if you're going to bat in a first class match, you have to bat for a day, you bat in 3 2-hour periods. So that's kind of what they're trying to replicate with the guys. And then we went for a little wander around, had a look up got toured through all the posh bits in the 1875 club. There was about 60 to a group where Ben took us up to the media centre on the very top floor that Marcus just got. That was fun. About 60 people all in mass trying to social distance, shuffling up and down through all the scorebooks. Polly was up there as well, and in through all the various things. The How's That Trade Nation Wheel of Fortune was up there. I didn't spin it again because I didn't want to try my luck again. But yeah, very cool, very good, very interesting stuff. Got up to the mezzanine floor to watch a few of the guys training. This will please you immensely, Anthony. George Bartlett was batting.
What was his guard?
He's not batting as he's got. Well, I didn't see him take guard as much, but I could see quite a bit of his off stump when he was having his trigger movement. So that was all good. I got very shy. His roll off was in there. He was practicing his roll off was practicing going from Yorkers to length to Yorkers to length. For white ball games, but yeah, quickly about Georgie, I was able to stand sort of right behind him. He looked in very good order. He was having the dog stick, and it's amazing. Guy was making the dog stick just do massive away swings. So it would have been interesting just to see him.
Was he playing defensive shots or attacking shots?
Yeah, I think they were in a sort of a red ball net mode, so he was just playing the ball on its merit. So quite a few leaves, just little tucks off the hip, the odd off drive.
Occasional forward defensive shot.
Yeah.
Actually moving his feet.
One or two, maybe. Maybe when he was moving his feet. He said he was concentrating because they had a radio mic down there, so they were kind of going round and asking all the players what they were doing. And George basically said he wants to get his trigger movement in earlier, so he's not on the move while the ball comes down, which sounds like an eminently sensible thing to try and do. He wasn't getting really far across to off stump. I tried to get his head was more or less in line with off stump, so he was looking in good order. Ben Green was having the bowling machine with Greg Kennis. I didn't get to see much of what he was doing. And then Steve Davis came in and was just sort of doing some very basic keeping fundamentals. Then we wandered back in. I had a little look around the museum and the Miller Chapman Hall shop. Came in. We got our fixtures a little bit earlier.
Yeah, privileged.
Well, I say earlier. 10 minutes earlier when they're 2 months late isn't isn't particularly advantageous. But so we had a little bit of lunch, which I guess so we're outsourcing our catering now, so they all came in and they had sort of mini versions of everything they were eating. So free food. That was all very nice, all very good. I forget who he was, but he was a representative of the caterers. And bless him, he came in and he said, "I'm not much of a cricket fan, and I'm a very nervous public speaker, but one of my friends told me this story about your great Somerset batsman Viv Anderson." He was a footballer for Man United and Arsenal in the 80s, Dan. In case they didn't ring about, so sort of. And it was the story about his round and red, you know what it looks like, go and fetch it. That one.
Yeah,
I think he might have been. I think he might have been the first to transfer from Arsenal to Man United, or the other way around as well. Yeah, so everybody looked up. Did he say Viv Anderson? I think he did. So full box for trying anyway. And then we had Andy Hurry. He kind of talked about a few of the other things that Abe's
did he
talked
talk
about.
Did he use the word learnings? We've had some learnings. This non-word, which has appeared in at least two statements from Andy Hurry. I've emailed Ben and Spencer and asked them please to expunge it from his vocabulary, along with the bloody wyvern.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Gibbo. Yeah, but I can't remember him using the words learnings. But so what we got?
The correct word is lessons, actually. But there you are. Carry on.
I should have used some punctuation here. I'm trying to work it out. Right, I'll just go right. So they're off to the UAE for a bit of a pre-season, and then they've got 3 pre-season games in March, which are going to sort of build in intensity. So I think it will be the same as last year, didn't they? They had one against Gloucester that was pretty much a we'll bat for a day, you'll bat for a day, and then we'll go home. Then they had a 2-day game, which was a bit more intense, and then
they finished with Glamorgan in a 3-day game, and I think just before that was Worcester in a 3-day game, and they were a bit more intense. Before that was a 2-day against Gloucester and a 2-day against Worcester, and also there was a couple T20s against Gloucester. But the 2-days were less intense, and then
so that's what they're going to do this year. Reiterate what Abe said about they want to bat for longer periods of time, and they're reflecting that in how they're training. Recruitment's getting harder and harder. The international schedule is causing an issue because of COVID over the last year and a bit. There's a backlog of fixtures sort of piling up now, so the availability of your international players is becoming less and less. He said, as I said before, he wants a player for as much of the season as possible. And he just thanked the supporters, emphasised that there's a real connection between the players and the supporters and the members. They really appreciate it, and his game, which he is looking forward to the most this season. Spencer asked him, when you look at the fixtures, what's the one game you look for? And can't wait for Essex at home, as I'm sure we can't either.
It's Easter weekend, isn't it, as well, in the Championship? Yeah,
it is Easter weekend. I'm on holiday. I'm in Tenerife until the 16th, so potentially driving back. I need to remember to take my membership card with me, because then I could just swing back from Bristol Airport.
You see the last day,
and just rock up at the County Ground. Yeah, so maybe see that this is one of those things that potentially your wife doesn't understand you wanting to do after being on holiday for a week, wanting to get home, wanting to get unpacked. Can you just drop me at Taunton? I'll get the train home maybe, or we could all stay there for a day. It all depends.
We're playing a similar
style wicket to the one that. Oh, you don't know the alphabet, Gibber. But I mean, if we play on a pitch like we did in 2019, it could be all over in 2 days. But general fixture conversation then. So we start at the Ageas Bowl.
We start away and finish away. I don't know. But I think I'm happy with the fixture list. Given the constraints, given the 100 and the Royal London One Day Cup having to be played in parallel with that, and at least the Blast is in a block. I think And the county championship, we've got the 4 counties that we've only got 1 game against are quite well balanced. We've got Lancashire away and Yorkshire at home. They're the 2 strong counties that we've only got 1 game against.
Yeah, we play
Yeah, we
Warwickshire
play Gloucestershire,
twice, don't we?
Hampshire, Essex, Surrey, and Warwickshire twice. Gloucestershire are going to be tough. Hampshire will be tough. Essex will be tough. Surrey will be tough, and Warwickshire will be tough. Lancashire will be tough. Yorkshire, question mark. We ought to beat them really, given their problems. And then we got Northampton and Kent, who are probably the 2 weakest sides in the first division. We're only playing them once. Yeah,
only playing them once
away. I think my problem with the fixture list is, if I was a member of Somerset County Cricket Club, I'd be pretty fed up with the fact that there are only 2 county championship games between the beginning of June and the end of August. And a lot of the cricket that is played then will be T20 in the evenings. So at the height of summer, the county ground under a blazing sun will be empty. And I know it's not Somerset's fault. It's the fixture list that we've been landed with by the ECB, but it does seem to me to be an awful shame for people, for supporters who love county cricket, 4-day cricket, as opposed to the 1-day stuff. And I think they're being pretty much shortchanged with the fixture list as it is. And I sincerely hope that what Neil Snowball of the ECB has been hinting, that there's going to be a big change next year. Let's hope that really does come to pass, and we get some more 4-day cricket at the height of summer, not just for the purposes of producing cricketers for England, although that's important, but for the benefit of all of the people who pay their membership subscription year after year after year, look forward to seeing lots of 4-day cricket in the sunshine at the height of the season, and at the moment can't. So that would be my grumble about it. But again, I don't blame Somerset for that. That's what we landed with.
So what was that fella's name from
Neil
the ECB?
Snowball. He's all right.
With a name like that, no wonder he done more cricket played in the summer.
Well, yeah, quite. We haven't got Snowball's chance now of getting a decent. But no, he was chief executive at Warwickshire, and a very good one. And he's one of the forces for good in the ECB. And I think there are just signs that of a change of heart. Harrison is on his way as well, and after the silver lining, if there is one, to the Ashes debacle is the realization that there's been too much emphasis on white ball cricket and not enough on red ball cricket, especially at times of the year when batsmen can expect to score some decent runs, and spin bowlers and fast bowlers will be brought into the game as well.
Yeah, again, from me, every year, the first thing I do is, when I look at the fixture list, is what's going on in September. The school holidays are finished. You've got kids enthused from maybe having played their first season of junior softball cricket or whatever. Club cricketers have finished playing on Saturdays and now have those free. And how much weekend cricket have we got?
No. They're all starting on
the square root of.
They're starting on Monday and Tuesday, aren't they?
Well, you know what I'm going to now say.
Absolutely. Oh, the Royal London One Day Cup. That's it.
But the reason is there's 3 finals in September, and that is the Hale Flint final on a Sunday, the 25th, the Royal London final on Saturday, the 17th, and I'm guessing the 100th final will be Saturday, the 3rd of September. Those finals, unfortunately, have a knock-on effects, and they cause the championship games to be put in midweek. It's just the way it is with those finals, I think. It's the same every time. The Blast Finals Day, when that's in September, that causes knock-on effects, and it is very difficult to sort of have everything, like all finals on weekends, and then have championship games on weekends either side of it, because then you get a big gap where there's nothing sort of for quite a while, like those weekdays. It does create a snowball effect, and I've tried to schedule this myself on Excel, and it is difficult to make a schedule and to please everyone. But yeah, I do sympathize with the point entirely. Like it is very frustrating, and I think it's throughout the season. I think a lot of people have got quibbles with the amount of weekend cricket. After May, there's I think there's a certain date where after which there's no more weekend cricket at the county ground, or maybe it's just there's a Sunday at the county ground in the Royal London Cup in August. There's a couple of T20s.
Yeah, Middlesex on the 14th.
Somerset Surrey 12th of June is the last championship day at Taunton on a weekend, and that's 12th of June. So it is very early for the final championship weekend day of the season. But again, it is partly knock-on effects from other stuff. If you put championship games on weekends, then something else comes off the weekend. You might have less T20s on weekends. Some people like their T20s on weekends because it means they can get there easier. It means they don't have to rush there from work. It means they can get there at all, because often people can't get there on weekdays because they can't get there from work. That sort of thing. So if you solve one problem, I always think if you solve one problem with the fixtures, you'll probably just create another. But yeah, I sympathise with people's frustrations for sure, because we all want to see as much cricket as we can, and when there's one other thing I was going to mention is there's a Sunday. Is it Sunday the 21st of August? There's 4 matches in the Royal London One Day Cup that day. There's one the previous day, but I'm very confused as to why that can't be a full round of matches. Like, why is it only 4 on that Sunday?
Well, another ridiculous thing with the Royal London One Day Cup as well. The quarterfinals are on Friday, August the 26th, and then the semi-finals are on Tuesday, August the 30th, which is one day after a bank holiday.
Yeah.
Now, call me stupid, but why don't you put cricket on days when people can go and watch it, like a bank holiday? There's no reason that those Royal London semis couldn't be on that Monday. And unless it's for the television, and we'll get on to Sky Sports in a minute.
But the semis could stay the Tuesday, and you could then put the quarterfinals on the Saturday. You could do that. That could be an alternative as well.
Yeah, or you could put the quarterfinals on the Saturday, and the semi-finals on the Monday.
They did listen though last year, wasn't it? 3-day break last year between the quarters and the semis. I think there's been a 2-day break in the past. So these people probably listened to that and said, "Oh, okay, we'll have a bigger break this year." But in doing that, they put the matches on inconvenient days. I think most people would prefer Saturday, Monday with a smaller break than Friday, Tuesday, and not be able to go to the games. So, yeah.
I fear it may be an academic consideration for those of us who are Somerset followers. I'm not sure we're going to be very competitive in the Royal London One Day Cup.
I don't know. We've got Renshaw and Siddle in that, if they're in that, and Rowan Thomas leaving.
Well, we'll see.
If we've contracted a player, if we've contracted an overseas player, does that mean they are completely unable to go to the 100?
No, I think they just 100.
The 100 can't just pinch who they want, can they? If we've got a guy contracted,
I think they can. I think there's almost certainly something in their contract which will allow them to play in the 100 if they're required to. I'd be very, very surprised. I can't see Peter Siddle especially, who's doing so well in the Big Bash at the moment. He'd be a prime pick for the 100. He won't give that away. I'd be very surprised if we see Renshaw and Siddle featuring in the Royal London One Day Cup, which I don't think is. I don't have a problem with that. It's good to see the youngsters be given a chance, but if you've got a county like Glamorgan that don't give their youngsters a chance and effectively and don't lose many players to the 100 and are playing almost a full strength side, then it's going to be very tough for us to do well in that. Not to say that it won't be very enjoyable, though. I really enjoyed it last year, and it was good to see the youngsters being given a chance on a big stage.
Ian Ward didn't though. Did you see what he said about the Royal London One Day Cup on the latest Sky Sports? Nobody goes to watch the Royal London One Day Cup.
Why do we need to play 50 over domestic cricket? Did England win the World Cup, 50 over World Cup, because Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Ben Stokes played in the Royal London One Day Cup? No one watches it. It's not, people aren't knocking it around in the middle overs like it used to be in that format. No one watches it. No one goes to the ground to watch it.
was so the basic point was Mike Atherton said he put over his point of how he'd schedule the English season, having the 50 over cup at the start and then a bit of championship cricket and then etc etc etc. Have a look on the
I think actually having the 50 over competition at the start is not a bad idea, as per the old Benson and Hedges, which was always the first competition of the season. And it worked.
Mike Atherton doesn't have a lot of bad ideas from my knowledge, from my experience listening to him. But yeah, then Ian Ward just wanted to say, oh well, all the one-day cricket these days is played in the 2020 mode. Why do we need to play 50 over cricket? Nobody watches it and nobody goes to the ground to watch it. To it, I fired up Adobe Premiere Pro and then spliced the video I took of a packed Taunton on a Tuesday afternoon, standing as one to applaud George Bartlett after he scored that magnificent 100. And then I think me, Dan, and it was Simon Hancock had a bit of a. We were trying to remember all the games that we went to, and Yorkshire was sold out. We couldn't quite remember if it was COVID regulations or not, but that was on a Sunday. That game, a few people left because it was rain delayed.
But even Derbyshire, there was a good crowd for that. You know, it was great atmosphere.
Yeah. Put cricket on. It's a nice day. People will go and watch it. So Ian Ward is joining Tom Curran, Gareth Batty, and Alex Wharf on my list. I should have prepared a prop for my list, but I'll do one for next time. Right, let's have a quick look at what Steve's written us from his sick bed.
Just one quick point. You said about put cricket on, and if it's sunny, people will watch. That to me is a reason for having a lot of cricket, because a lot of people want to cut the amount of county cricket. But the problem with that is you then reduce the chance of it being played on a nice day, because our weather is rubbish. We need to have a lot of games, so there's some level of insurance against rain, and that's across all formats. I know in the championship last year, two rounds were completely destroyed. So if you reduce the season to 12 games or 10 games, you might actually be reducing it to 8 games. We've got to have a lot of cricket. There's a reason there's a lot of cricket, because and also the other reason is because the cricket that is on is often scheduled badly and not at weekends, so people can't go to it a lot of times.
I don't buy this argument that there's too much cricket. Back in the late 60s, 70s, and 80s. Counties would play county championship match, 3-day championship match on a Saturday, Sunday they go and play a Sunday league match, Monday, Tuesday championship, Wednesday another 3-day match would start, and so on, and then Saturday, and so it would go on, and they'd be playing 7 days a week in very many cases. It didn't seem to do them much harm, and spectators got really good value for their membership fee. So just all this talk about we've got to play less cricket and have fewer counties and all the rest of it, I don't buy at all.
I think there's a happy medium to be had there, and I think one of the arguments for me against reducing the number of counties and not whether you go with a franchise model or you amalgamate some of the smaller counties is, if you're trying to broaden the reach of the game, potentially you would want to get everybody playing cricket, and you would get so many talented cricketers up playing that you would potentially want to go to 20 first-class counties, and then 22, and then maybe 24. I mean, nobody's saying that England are rubbish at football because we've got, 96 teams in the Football League and however many sort of semi-pro teams there. Surely the more professional teams you have, if they can support the standard of professional cricket, which is the key to the point that I'm making here, to grow the game, more players, more counties,
and you have.
I'm not sure about more. I think 18's about right. And
no, what I'm saying actually is if we have we have a surge of players.
I mean, when Durham joined the county championship in whenever it was, 1990-ish.
93, I think.
I mean, that was great. It was a real step forward. But I think if you're going to have more counties, you would need to have probably more divisions as well. So that
definitely more divisions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we're not.
But I think it's Devon
would
something
be
to aspire to.
Devon would be one of the first, I suspect.
Oh, no, Devon have got no ambition.
Well, they've got some good cricketers, though. It's
No,
half the Somerset side come from Devon, at least.
Half the Somerset team, yeah. Yeah, no, it's Devon are sort of no aspirations to become a first-class county.
I expect Cornwall have.
Which is a shame. Yeah, they'd have Lewis Goldsworthy. Any more?
Jake Libby,
Jake Libby,
Jake Libby, yeah. Lewis Goldsworthy, Jake Libby, yeah. That's two. Anything more on these fixtures then? I mean,
I think
we can just
the only other
lament
thing
the
I'd say
lack
is
of.
that the Southern group in the Blast looks pretty daunting, as per usual.
Yes, it does.
Southern group produced all 4 semi-finalists last year, and it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case again. It looks pretty tough.
Yeah, if we dodge playing Sussex twice again,
Sussex and Middlesex, we've got once each. We've got Middlesex at Lords, so that'll be a good away game.
That was the same. That was the same as last year, wasn't it?
Yes,
it generally does stay the same. It used to be Essex and Middlesex that we used to miss. Now it's changed to Sussex and Middlesex. It changed for all the counties, or most of the counties, for last season. I don't know why, but it did. So I just mentioned about the. Sorry, go on.
Well, no, go on, Dan. Yeah.
I was just going to mention about the women's fixtures. There's 2. I think it's 2 matches at Taunton. Was it 3?
Yeah.
So there's a Charlotte Edwards Cup game at Taunton. That is on the 29th of May, and there's also
that double headers with the
Essex T20. And then there's also Sunday 11th of September. There's a 50-over game against Northern Diamonds. Also good to see Western Storm returning to Cheltenham this year for 1 match. There's a couple of games at Bristol, 1 game at Cardiff, I think. But broadly the women's fixtures are the structure's the same of both the tournaments, although the Charlotte Edwards Cup is in 1 block at the start of the season this year. I'm guessing that's to get England players playing in that tournament, because they'll be prioritising T20 now with the World T20 for women next year, I think. So that's the Charlotte Edwards Cup should be a good occasion. As I said, with the England players playing, should be quite high quality, and then the
I think Anthony's cooking his dinner. He's done something to his camera as well.
Here I am.
Oh, blimey, you've gone. Oh, right. You can't see what I'm seeing, Dan, but on the on the broadcast of it. Did you just do something to your camera, Anthony?
I just went.
Oh, you've gone. I can see just about the top of your head there. Hold on a minute. Right. Let's try and.
Shall I turn the camera off and turn it on?
Oh, you're back. Oh, you're back as you are. Oh, there you are. You're back. I'm not sure if that was me or you or whatever. Hey, we're back. Yeah, so a couple of Western Storm games at all. Yeah, you're right, Dan. They're sort of spread. I think they've got a couple at each venue, haven't they? 2 at Cheltenham, 2 at Cardiff, 2 at Bristol, and two down with us. Here we got in the Royal London One Day Cup. We've got Essex, Notts again. Gloucester are away on Sunday the 7th of August. Should be a good one. We've got Durham at home, thankfully. Leicester again. Middlesex is a new one. Surrey again. And Sussex. And I almost forgot. Thursday, 21st of April, Surrey versus Somerset. Are we finally going to see Overton versus Overton? After being teased last year with rain and Lord knows what else. I'm looking forward to seeing that. We know what's going to happen. It should be good. Craig popped into the county ground. He brought his dog down and something else, so he couldn't have been long off the plane. And
was he in a good mood?
Well, he was sort of. I don't know if he knew that the Members' Day was on, because he must have parked in the Priory Bridge car park, and he was walking sort of in front of the Andy Caddick Pavilion. I don't know where, and then he was just sort of greeted by a surge of members going, "Oh, look, it's Craig Overton!" So he just kind of sort of put his cap down and just sort of and sort of ploughed on through.
He was treated badly, though. He should have been playing in that last Test match, shouldn't he? I mean, Robinson wasn't fit. And Overton would have done well on that pitch as well.
Yeah, he would have done. What, should we have a quick chat about the Ashes?
Very quick.
Must be.
What should we have a chat about the two Somerset players and their potential experience in the Ashes? We touched on Jack Leach's mistreatment, playing on the green top at the Gabba and then not being selected at Adelaide when he should have been. Left a straight one, whereas Sydney left a straight one.
Well, I don't think he let himself down. He didn't let the side down.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he came under fire in the first Test match, and that was entirely predictable. But as I said, I think I said after in the podcast we did after that Test match, he would bounce back, and he did. But Jack's problem always has been taking wickets on good pitches. On a turning pitch, he'll bowl sides out, but he finds it much more difficult on good pitches to take wickets consistently, because his strength, which is his accuracy and persistency and consistency of line and so on, can become a weakness on a good pitch when batsmen line him up. But he's been appallingly badly treated by England. To throw him in at Brisbane after he hadn't played a Test match all summer, and then the fields that were set for him by Joe Root. I don't know. If I was Jack Leach, I'd be tempted to tell him to go and take a running jump. I'll concentrate on Somerset.
And as well, he's not going to develop that skill set that you're talking about if he's not playing regular international cricket, and he's bowling to batsmen who are going after him and not learning that, not getting that experience and sort of learning on the job. Especially, if you're in and out of the team, you're almost sort of fearing for your place. You're not confident that you're the number one spinner, that you've got the confidence of the management and the captain to keep your place. So
yeah,
you've gone funny again, Anthony. Are you going to come back on your own like you did last time?
All I've done is go and put the steak in the pan. I haven't touched anything. I've just got up. You haven't got like a Bluetooth hob of you that's connected up to your.
I don't think so. Yeah, we can. Well, you'll see it when I pop it up on YouTube. But you went back to your normal self on your own. So I'm just going to hope that it does it by itself. Yeah. I will crack on then. Right. So, anything more on the fixtures?
Yes, one thing. The very exciting prospect of visiting Trafalgar Road, Southport for the Lancashire away match. I was really chuffed to see that. I love an outground, so always on the lookout for them. And I was really happy to see that, a very unusual one. So somewhere Somerset haven't played in a very long time. I think it was might have been the 60s or 70s Somerset last played there. That'd be a good occasion. I think a lot of members will make their way up for that one.
Not too much of a drive for Steve as well.
No, that's right.
That's up his neck of the woods, isn't it?
Yes, I shan't be sorry not to be going to Old Trafford. Not because I don't. It's one of the least attractive grounds on the circuit. Used to be one of my favourites, but I don't like the redevelopment.
Let's try. Oh, you're back.
Nothing.
What did you do? Fair enough.
Absolutely nothing.
You're going to be fascinated to see what's going on when this goes up on YouTube. Right, we're back now. We're back again. So Southport away. Not sure what the commentary facilities would be like up there for you, Anthony.
Well, I've never seen cricket at Southport, and I've been to Southport to play golf, but not for cricket. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, booking in the diary then. Monday, July the 11th. I presume that's because. Why would that one be at Southport, actually? Just so they're using their outgrounds?
I think it's just they do have outgrounds in Lancashire, and they like to use them.
Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Anything else on the fixtures? Oh, just a quick weird one. We've got 2 of the T20 quarterfinals are on the same day, which is Friday, July the 8th. Because England are playing India in a T20, so maybe I don't know how many pods Sky have got. Have they got a second pod?
I don't know. There's a
backup pod.
F20I the day before, and then the day after. So I've got a funny feeling one of them won't televised, which would be a shame.
that'd be annoying. But hey, tis what it is. It'll probably be streamed anyway, so probably a bit easier to watch if they aren't both on Sky actually. One on Sky and one on your stream. Right. About 25 minutes ago, I said we were going to just quickly hear from Steve via email. He says he's crashed out in bed and hoping it passes quickly. Whether it's right, Anthony's moved now. Is his camera going to go funny again? I think it's all right. Anyway, over the moon about Renshaw. Really impressed with him in the Big Bash. Seems to have matured a lot since 2018. He is obviously able to get a 16.4 contract, but if he's around otherwise till at least late August, that is a good thing. Yeah, they're both confirmed to at least August, isn't it? So if their states give them permission, they could potentially stay on for the whole of the campaign. Steve's got to be away when they're due to play Lancashire away, which is unfortunate. And the final game being at Canterbury rather than Taunton were the first two things that jumped out. Initially, I was angry at the thought of going to Kent and that dreadful service, but if everyone was shouting, I wonder how good it would feel to be celebrating now. I forgot that Steve hates Kent as much as I hate Essex. And as for Siddle, yes, I need to get over his Essex past. He's been stellar in the Big Bash and adopting my mantra of if you think you have enough seam bowlers, sign one more. Then it's a shrewd move, especially he was available in all three formats. He holds the yellow cap in the Big Bash at the moment and has skippered the Adelaide side on a late season surge, which leads them into the last four. So I'd hope he makes a big contribution in the T20s. You wonder if it signals the end of Jack Brooks, though. Given the arrival of Renshaw and Siddle, perhaps you should rename the T20 side the Somerset Strikers, or perhaps is that the proposed name for the Taunton-based 16.4 franchise? Have a good one, guys. Miss you all. Well, for starters, I don't think we are getting a Taunton-based franchise. Well, definitely not this year. The 100 fixtures weren't released this week as well, which is very, very disappointing.
I saw it. Give it a different news cycle or something.
Oh, a different news cycle. All right. So, because I'm sure all those diehard, I forgot what half of them are called now. Southern
Brave.
Southern Brave, of course, the long,
Rockets,
the die-hard,
lifelong
Southern Brave, Trent Rockets, that's
Welsh Fire, Welsh
Fire, the Welsh Firemen.
We all identify with
local. Yes, Welsh Fire till I die. So obviously nothing's come of the rumours that we might be getting a Southwest-based franchise of the 100, which is an entirely good thing, and I think we can all agree we're all very, very happy about that. Was there anything else? Oh yes, the Ian Both. Yes, that was the bit of the. Sorry, apologies to Sarah Trunks. Yeah, that was the one bit of the trip that I missed out. So for social distancing, Sarah Trunks, who's the operations director of Somerset County Cricket Club, was stood sort of. I think she must have been in the freezing cold for most of her 3-hour stint of giving talks to the various different groups going around. So the Ian Botham stand is getting a new story built on top, basically, which is going to happen. Planning permission and finance permitting. Sarah said it was going to cost about $1.5 million to do. Pretty much the day after the last championship game is finished at the end of the season, because obviously they can't put trucks. The only way you can get to it, it's not like they were building the Trescothic stand. You've got the massive car park behind it.
What's it going to? Is it going to be more hospitality boxes then?
I think it's going to be more media.
Oh, they're going to move the media to the other side, are they?
A new lift. I think they're going to have media at both. So one of the constraints that's been preventing us from holding international matches as well as not just capacity is media. They want to have the media facilities at both ends of the ground. So obviously when they built the Tres Pavilion, when that was all designed back in probably 2014-15, that sort of time, live streaming was just a twinkle in young Ben Warren's eye. They didn't bother to consult.
That was the trouble. The architect ruled it, and if they'd asked us what we needed in a way, we'd have said, far more room than we've been given. Things haven't changed that much in the last 7, 8 years, whatever it is. But I'm glad that it's something that needed doing. It's hopeless at the moment. The media facilities just get completely overwhelmed with the result that the written press are down in a marquee down at deep third man, which is not the ideal place to watch the game from.
No, definitely not. So it's probably one of the worst places in the ground to watch it for, to be honest. So more media, dedicated live streaming suite, a roof terrace similar to the Thatcher's Terrace on the Trescothic stand. It's just getting a lot of TLC, and that's going to start end of this season. They're going to do the drainage on the outfield. They were putting this funny sort of sand on it while we were there. The drainage in front of the Colin Atkinson Pavilion is going to get done after all the trucks have been going in and out, or to do the renovations on the Botham stand. No plans to put a permanent stand in Priory Bridge Road car park, or Priory Avenue, whatever it's called. That's they like having the flexibility to kind of do what they need with that. What else? And that was pretty much it from that side of things from Sarah. If you want to have a look at the plans for the Botham stand, I think they're in the Somerset County Gazette or something, one of the local papers. So have a look. It looks pretty good. They kind of try and mirror the sort of the metallic chrome finish of the Tres Pavilion. So that all looks very good, very promising. Bit of money in for the ground. We've done just about an hour. Any more for anything else? I know your steak is
done. I'm
just about ready for you, Anthony.
Tomatoes and the mushrooms now.
Oh,
the chips are in the oven.
It's mouthwatering, Anthony.
All is set. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I feel much happier at the end of this week than I did at the beginning of it. I was worried about the absence of views on signings, and I think Renshaw and Siddle, given the difficulty with signing overseas players at the moment, I think they're two good choices. And I think if the young batters with all that much talent are finally getting some proper coaching and being taught how to play defensive, the fact I was with Steve James yesterday. Glamorgan and England scored umpteen runs and writes for the Times, and he was saying the foundation of batting success is defence, and you've got to learn to defend on the front foot or the back foot, and that's what these young players, whether they're Somerset or England, are just not good at doing. They're always trying to score runs. You've just got to accept sometimes that you've got to defend, and sooner or later you'll get your chance to attack. But defence, and that's been the weakness with our batsmen, and it applies to one or two of the more experienced ones as well. And I just hope that that can be the basis of a much better season with the bat for Somerset, because if we can score the runs that we ought to be scoring with the bowling attack that we've got, we could be a real force this year.
Absolutely. Oh, shall we quickly? Who are you picking for your first county championship game then? I'll go first. Right, let's see if I can count to 11 now. Lammonby, Renshaw, Abel,
Hildreth.
We'll get here.
Well, if he's still,
wow. If he has a good pre-season, Hildreth. If Hildreth doesn't have a storming pre-season, I'm 50-50 on Hildreth. Do you though? We're going to do another hour if we start talking about Hildreth. I'll put Hildreth in. Hildreth / Bartlett. I'm sticking to my guns. Where am I up to now? 4. So 4, 5, 6. One of those has got to be Davis. So I've basically got to go
Davis at 6.
3. Yeah, Davis at 6. So 2 of Hildreth, Bartlett, and Goldsworthy. The 2 that have the best pre-seasons at 4 and 5. And then pretty much picks itself. Gregory, Overton, Siddle.
I agree with that. Renshaw, Lammonby, Abel, Hildreth. And then Bartlett or Goldsworthy or Tom Banton.
Banton as well.
Banton does between now and the start of the season. He's such a talented cricketer. I'd love to see him succeed as a red ball cricketer. But as things stand, I would say Bartlett's in the box seat for that. And then I agree with you, Davis, Gregory, Overton, Davy Leach, and Siddle. I think that's a good side.
Mhm.
I'm just worried about the ones. I'm just worried about the ones that aren't going to get a game. And how long they'll be content to play second 11 cricket. But
well, you think we got 5 games in. We miss. Yeah, that was another thing. Just quickly nipping back to the fixtures is, although we have around 10 and 8 teams in each division now, they aren't all playing every week in those first few weeks of the season, which goes back.
There are 16 rounds
week
of
off.
14 games. Last year there were 15 rounds of 14 games. I'm not quite sure what's caused the need for 16 rounds. It's a bit confusing. It means there are a lot of uneven rounds. In fact, there's only about 5 where every team plays, I think. So it's a bit odd.
Yeah, I think everybody plays the last round, which starts on Monday, September the 26th. Oh, no Bob Willis as well, but we'll talk about that next time. I don't know if there wasn't really an announcement that's.
No. I think
it's
been
finished,
a while.
It's just going to be quietly. Very strange that not everybody's playing every week, especially the first sort of few weeks of the season when everybody should be fit and raring to go. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting a warm-up fixture for either New Zealand or South Africa after we had it taken away from us last year due to COVID, which is slightly unfair.
Warm-up fixtures against a county select 11, aren't they, or an England select 11?
Yeah.
Were they?
One of them might be a Taunton. You don't know.
It might be, yeah. I think that's a good idea, and hopefully if we give touring sides to this country a decent warm-up program, then it may be reciprocated next time we go to Australia or South Africa.
Well, I think we need to go on tour for long enough to have those warm-up games. They just seem to want to get in and get out, and then wonder why they get pumped. What should have been 5-0, apart from a bit of rain at Sydney. It really should have been 5-0. Let's not get back to talking about the Ashes again. No. Right. I think everybody's getting a bit bored listening to us now after we've rattled on for about an hour. Unless we've got anything super mega urgent. Should we call it a night?
Well done, Shep.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'll just quickly echo what you said, Anthony. It feel completely a new man than I felt on Monday with relation to cricket. It just seems like all this good news has come at once, and I put the countdown in my phone. Where is it? I've got my countdown app going. This is great here, and it is 75 days, 13 hours, and whatever it is to the county championship. It will go slow. Well, to be honest, I first time I used that app, I downloaded it in February 2020, and I put literally everything into the summer, and I didn't get to go to a single bloody one of them. It was a domestic cricket, league cricket, holiday. People were going to see it at the theatre anyway. So let's hope that I've not cursed the season by firing up my countdown up again. But for Dan and Anthony, I'd say good night. If you want to drop us a tweet, we are at Somerset Podcast. We're at Somerset Podcast on all the socials. And if you want to drop us an email, we are the Somerset Podcast @gmail.com.